Welcome to San Antonio Sports Motivation Monday. I am Mandy Adkins, and today we are going to visit with former WNBA All-Star Sophia Young-Malcom. Sophia played college basketball for the Baylor Bears, where she led them to their very first NCAA national championship in 2005. She was selected 4th overall in the 2006 WNBA draft by the San Antonio Silver Stars and played with them her entire 10-year career. And she was a 3-time Western Conference All-Star and helped shape the Stars franchise. So, Sophia, thank you so much for being with us.
No problem. It's great to be here.
Well, we obviously got to know each other, Sophia and I, when she served as our celebrity instructor for San Antonio Sports I Play After School basketball videos that we're currently producing. She has 2 children, and she recently transitioned into a career of real estate. And she's local here in San Antonio and just a great partner of San Antonio Sports, and we so appreciate you. So to kick us off, Sophia, you know a little bit about the I Play After School program, but San Antonio Sports offers fundamental sport development through our I Play After School program. And our goal is to bridge the gap between those who can readily get instruction and those who can't, ensuring that all children in our community are able to experience the power of sport. So can you share a little bit with us what the power of sport has done for you in your life?
I feel like my life is a walking sports icon, I suppose. Sports has been in my life since I can remember. I don't remember my life without sports. And I am who I am today because of sports. I am where I am today because of sports. Literally, I am in the United States because of sports. My family always treasured it. They saw the value and the importance of sports from, like I said, from a young age. And we knew that sports was an avenue. For me, I came from a third world country, and they have an understanding that sports was an avenue to a better life. And I truly, I'm an example of that. And because of sports, I was or am able to travel the world. I am able to provide for my family, not just my kids and my husband, but provide for my mom, sisters, brothers, and extended family because of sports. And I was able to get a full scholarship and free, I guess, education from college through that, and able to play professionally for such a long time. And doors and opportunities have come from that is I would have never dreamed about or imagined as a child. So sports, it's been sports is my life. It's what I do, and it's who I am, for sure.
Well, you have such an incredible story, and everybody, that avenue of sports can change a life, and that kind of mindset of using sport as that avenue is such a powerful thing to hear you talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Sports I feel like can literally change the direction and change the pathway of your life. But like with everything, it takes like a lot of commitment and a lot of practice and a lot of focus and all those words that we hear all the time that people don't really want to do too much, but it takes a lot of those things.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, can you tell us a little bit about any tips that you have that have helped you stay motivated? Perhaps in college and even now, post-professional career in the midst of the pandemic, what do you personally do to stay motivated?
Well, when I was in college, one of the things that I did as a player was I always evaluated my own game, right? I always saw myself as somebody that can get better at every single time I play. I needed to get better. It was my drive, and it was the thing that drove me. I would look back, whether if it's just one play or whether it's just one shot that I missed, I always figure out, okay, how can I make that shot the next time? Mm-hmm. And I will always think back of what did I do wrong? What did I do differently? Or what could I do better to make myself, be a better player.
Mm-hmm.
And so what drove me was the desire to be the best that I can possibly be. Mm-hmm. And I think I carry that on today. I am always concentrating on, okay, no matter what I do, I'm always thinking of, okay, how can I make myself better mm-hmm. at this? And I'm deciding that I'm going to run a marathon. And then I'm thinking, okay, how can I make my time better when I'm training for this? Okay, how can I knock off 1 minute off of my time that I'm running this time? And I'm challenging myself. It's no one that I'm trying to impress or anything like that. It's just me challenging myself. So for me, I'm always striving to be the best that I can be, regardless of what the situation is. So yeah, that's my drive.
Yeah, that's awesome. Best wishes to you and the marathon.
Thank you.
I work the rock and roll marathon. At the finish line, I say, I am going to do this. I'm going to run. And I could use some of those motivational tips in my own personal life.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about, for you, what is the relationship like between physical activity and mental health?
Physical activity and mental health. I feel like those two things go hand in hand for me. I am mentally healthy because I'm physically active. Mm-hmm. I know throughout this pandemic, it has been so tough for everybody. And there was a point where my husband asked, what are the things that are important to you? And one of the things that I listed to him was that I need to make sure that I work out. I need to make sure that I work out. It's not I want to work out every day. It's like I need to make sure that I do that, because for me, having 2 kids and having everything else that's happening, I need to have my alone time to where I know that I am releasing my stress. I can think for myself. It's just me and whatever I'm doing, whether it's lifting or running, it's just my own alone moment to gather my thoughts and to shape my mind for the day. And so I feel that being physically active for me is what keeps me mentally healthy, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of going off of that, and in that regard, how have you kept a positive attitude in this uncertain time we're living in?
There are days when you almost feel like a burden and a sadness as to, wow, like I want to be with my friends and I want to hang out and I want to go to a party, just want to be with my friends' kids or something. And for me, I know that there's nothing new under the sun, right? Everything that's happened before, all this pandemic and everything, there's been things in the past that has caused the world to go up in, shambles. And this is one of them. But from history, it teaches us that joy will come in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. It teaches that the sun will come out the next day.
Right.
And so for me, I'm always thinking, okay, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. I just gotta keep believing, and I'm keeping faith and keeping hope that it is gonna get better, because history has proven that. And there's always that notion that, well, God is in control, right? And He is gonna make everything better, regardless of how dark the situation may seem. That joy will come. Joy will come in the morning. And so for me, literally, that's the hope that I'm hanging on to, and what I am, teaching my children to hang on to, that it is going to get better.
Yeah, that's such great perspective. I think, especially back in March and April, we all kind of had this notion, at least I did, that we might work from home for a couple weeks and then we'd be back and it would be
right.
And we got into the summer and it was like, oh dear, this. And so I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Joy does come in the morning. And I think that's a critical piece to just remember and meditate on. And, we've made it this far. And
Right. Absolutely. I know when throughout the summer, I told my husband, I was like, I just can't believe that we're living through a COVID summer. Yeah. And I can't believe we lived through a COVID summer. And every time I'm like, I can't believe. And it's like, it's reality, Sophia. You got to believe it.
Right.
And also that we know that it has to go away. It's just, history has just proven that,
right.
that it will go away regardless of how long it takes, but it will eventually go away.
Right, right. Well, kind of speaking of that, and we are in the midst of a pandemic, and physical activity is so important. Tell us a little bit about, do you believe that fitness is a hedge against sickness and helps with preventing sickness?
Well, like I said, sports has been my life, and there was never a time when I wasn't playing sport, except when I tore my ACL. But I feel like for me, it's kept me healthy. Mm-hmm. And there were times when I was quote unquote sick and still had to go show up for a game, still had to play. So it for me, sickness has never really been a hindrance to where I'm thinking, okay, or I should say, I haven't been so sick to the point where I'm just like, I can't do this. I can't get out of bed. I can't walk, But I say that to say that sports, I feel, is one of those ways, because I've always been healthy and active, that it kept me away from, having to get like a flu shot or something like that. And that was pre-baby phase. It didn't make you get flu shots when you have kids. But in college and all those places, all those times I didn't really worry so much about that, because I felt like, okay, I was eating healthy, I was being active, so I wasn't concerned so much about, getting sick. And I definitely believe that sports tied into that.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Well, tell us, I know we've talked about the uncertain world and kind of the challenges that the pandemic has faced us all with, but have there been any silver linings for you or your family over the past couple of months?
Well, we get to spend time with each other.
Lots of time, right?
Right, lots and lots of time. So that's a silver lining right there. I think that for as a mom or a working mom, there's so many things that we overlooked.
Yeah.
Also things that I overlooked whenever my kids were in daycare and they were going throughout the day, and I'm at work, and they're doing fine. But being able to be with them throughout this time and actually watching them grow and watching them change and mature and learn something, we actually like teach them something and they know it.
Yeah.
That's been very, very rewarding. I think that for me personally has been that time that I'm gonna forever cherish, because they're young and they're never gonna be 3 again, And so to be able to get that moment where I can like take mental pictures,
mm-hmm.
that has been most definitely the most amazing thing for me. It's like, hey, I actually get to be with my kids every day.
Yeah.
There's moments when they're like, oh my gosh, I just need some time away. But altogether, it's just like, wow, they'll never be 3 again. They'll never be 2 again.
Yeah, I can totally relate. The pandemic started when my little one was a year old and it just started to learn to walk. And I kind of felt the same way. I was like, when else am I going to be home with him all day, every day, and watch the progression? And so, yeah, it's a sweet time.
Absolutely. Those are moments that you don't really know that you miss even, because you're like, okay, well, I come home later, I can see it, And so I thank God for that. I thank God for that completely, just because it's like I didn't know I was missing it.
Right.
And now I know.
It's so true. Well, Sophia, it has been great chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time. And I would encourage all of you who are listening, to take Sophia's words to heart and just kind of, set your mind to it, like that example of the marathon, and, just decide to improve one little step along the way, and know that, this one day will end and we are going to get back to a somewhat more normal lifestyle, and joy comes in the morning. So, Sophia, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Yay, no problem. Bye, guys.